Good afternoon, folks. Hope you're having a nice day. I just want to cover a wee video about a topic I started talking about maybe a few weeks ago now, about the cage system and how these chords kind of link together. I think there's some fundamental skills as a guitar player that you really should have under your belt if you're out playing and gigging regularly. And it's wee things like this that keep ideas fresh, that give you the freedom and ability to take songs that you're already playing and do some new things with them live and in front of people, and just take a bit more kind of risks. So most people, so this will be about the cage system, but whether you think about it as a cage system or not, it doesn't really matter. It's just about how chords kind of connect to each other. So if I asked 90% of players if they could play a G chord, you would definitely get this. You would probably get this. And you would probably get that. But we need to look at that distance from this A shape to this E shape. Like what's happening in the middle here that's being left out. Look, that's quite a big jump from this shape to this shape. So the way I look at this is, you've got an E shape here. I'm going to flick to this camera here. You've got an E shape here. There we go. And this joins onto what we would call the D shape. But I don't really see it as a D shape, I just see it as an extended, longer version of this. It joins on from where this pinky is here on the D string, which is where it gets its name, the D shape, from, and it would be, the full shape would look like this. I usually wouldn't play that on a gig. I would break it down into this power chord shape, get this middle finger out the way. I would play either that or build on this. So this one shape here breaks down into two shapes for me. This breaks down to this or this. But I just see that as being a bigger. It's just, I see that as just an extended E shape for some reason. This shape here, I just see two shapes off of this one root note here. So I've got a G here, and I can build a chord to the right hand side of this, that's this A shape, or I can build a chord to the left hand side of this in this diagonal. So pinky goes on there and I can build this C shape backwards. So it was only after, like, I've labelled them cage system chords when I started looking at the cage system, but I'd already kind of figured out that, oh, that root note there is just two, you can get two chords out of this. And this one here, there's your power chord, and that pinky there is where the C chord starts from. So I can now connect this shape that you already know to this via this middleman. And the G shape, which would look like this, away up here. Again, I'd never really looked at that as being a G shape, always thought it was quite horrible. But I just saw the A shape, these two notes here, going up an octave. Or you could just drop that, just play this one here and it'll be a full major chord. So that's just a kind of rock sign built off of the end of that A shape. And then that connects you back to this shape. So in the key of C, there's your root note here. I can build a chord to the right of that root note and get this. I can build a chord to the left of that root note and get this. There's the end of this, so I can stick a rock sign on here. And that tells me where my E shape bar is going to be next. And I know that this E shape can extend from this pinky to this power chord shape or that D chord shape. So it is the cage system, but I never viewed it as that before. I'd learned it before I labelled it all cage system stuff. So what you could maybe try is, I've got a wee backing track here, which is the cycle of fourths. So if you're not familiar with the cycle of fourths, it's just a continuous kind of chord loop going up 4 notes of the major scale, and then going up 4 notes from that note for the next chord. So the order of chords you get is C, and then up 4 notes, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, G flat here, B, E, A, D, G, and then back to the start again. C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, so on. So the good thing about this is that you're covering all the keys, and the way that I would kind of approach this is, if you've never done it before, maybe just finding the chords on one shape and just maybe one string. So you might play C, and then it's going to go F, then B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, etc. You're just using one shape, but you're covering through all the keys that way. And then you can maybe start extending these chords. So when you play the C chord, play those 2 shapes on the C. Then it gets to F, then B flat, E flat. So you do the same thing, but now you're putting 2 shapes on the chord. Then you could do your C here, and this one here, F, B flat, etc. So you've got 4 bars on each chord, so you've got 16 beats. And to play 16 beats on this G here would be really, really boring, especially in a live situation. So you want to try and mix them up. Think ahead, what chords coming next. Think where you are on the board. Where's the closest chord you can get to the next? If G's here, where's your closest C? And then from this, what's your other shapes that you can build on top of the C before it moves to F? And then you're already thinking ahead for like the B flat chord and where you're going to go next. back to C again. So I'm trying not to stay on the one chord for too long. Once you get familiar with linking these together, you should be able to kind of bounce around these shapes fairly at will. And every time you do it, it's going to be different. That's a good thing about it. And you can apply this to any song, any style, any composition you're doing. And the good thing about it is that everything's linked to chords anyway. All your scales get linked to chords, all your arpeggios get linked to chord shapes. And if you only know 3 of them, then there's going to be a big hole in the neck where those scale shapes aren't going to be able to be connected. If you only know this and this, all this part here, there's a lot of scales there, a lot of scale shapes that just will be missing to connect your scales from here to here. So again, that's just major chords. You could do the same with minor chords, 7th chords, major 7 chords, all of that stuff. But I definitely think that knowing those major shapes to begin with is something that should be a fundamental part of your knowledge as a gigging musician. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I'll leave the link below so you can have a wee go yourself, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, folks.